The world we live in is ruled by social media. Speaking of, there are many social media influencers out there who have converted to Islam in the recent past. Some of them have even shared their entire journey on their social media handles. One such social media influencer is a Christian Orthodox named Bobby. Bobby's YouTube channel goes by Bobby's Perspective. Bobby hasn't joined the fold of Islam as of yet. He seems to be on the right pathway, inshaAllah.
I read the Quran, the whole Quran, as a Christian. Yeah, I never believed myself that I will ever make such a video, but yes, I did read the whole Quran.
In this video, we will enlighten you with a surprising reaction to reading Quran as a Christian. So, let's get started. To begin with, Bobby was born in northern Macedonia, in the Balkan Peninsula. His parents are Christian Orthodox, so he was baptized after birth as well. Albanians were mostly Sunni Muslims, and they and the Slavs, meaning the people of northern Macedonia, had many conflicts in the past. Moreover, historically, the Balkans was part of the Ottoman Empire, so Bobby never really liked Muslims. Furthermore, in Germany, where he grew up, most of the foreigners around him were Muslims, and those so-called Muslims were part of different vices, such as weed smoking, drug selling, prostitution, gang violence, robberies, and whatnot. Hence, Bobby's image of Muslims and Islam in general was quite negative.
So my experience with Muslims was pretty negative after all, I have to say. Therefore, I had no interest whatsoever to look into Islam.
In his 20s, Bobby tried various things. He tried psychedelics, like magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, LSD. He also explored dietary venues like veganism, which led him to Buddhism, Hinduism, and other pagan religions. So, for roughly a decade, he let go of Christianity and was not associated with any particular religion. He didn't label himself with anything. He was just living his life. In 2014, he left Germany and went to Australia, then Indonesia, then Thailand, then back to Australia and New Zealand, over to South America, Machu Picchu in Peru, and whatnot. In short, he visited many different places, experienced a variety of cultures, saw different religions, and was convinced that religion is just a combination of cultural norms that people adhere to. Bobby saw himself above all that. It was until Bobby returned to Bulgaria in Europe. He felt that yearning for God. He felt broken. All those things he tried, all those adventures he had, led him nowhere. He felt as if he had failed. He felt abandoned. He felt alone. Therefore, I sought God. Moving on, as Bobby was a Christian Orthodox before everything, it was natural for him to return to his birth religion. It felt like a homecoming. It felt like something he used to know, but never truly explored. As a matter of fact, he had never studied his birth religion, but now he could start fresh and know all about his religion. As he dug deep, he found out about Trinity. For 2 years, he battled with his thoughts and tried to understand the concept of the Trinity, but he ultimately failed, as he couldn't convince himself of a three-headed God. No matter how he looked at it, it just didn't make sense. He was quite surprised to find out that his own religion entailed such a thing. This proved to be a wake-up call for Bobby, as he was exploring the oneness of God, not a deity whose existence he couldn't even comprehend. To add to this, he was reminded of one of the Bible's saying, "For God is not a God of confusion." However, it was all very confusing for Bobby. So, for the first time in his life, he decided to give his enemy's book, the Qur'an, a read. At that time, Bobby was also watching the videos of a YouTuber named David Wood. David Wood is an anti-Islamic guy who propagates wrong concepts about the Prophet, peace be upon him, and Islam in his audience. In fact, he says that Islam is a religion from the devil himself. Bobby, who had just returned to Christian orthodoxy, felt that he was now more ready than to read Qur'an and prove that it was the devil's religion. Moreover, at the time, many of Bobby's Muslim followers on YouTube urged him to give Qur'an a read. So he was like, why not? Proceed forward. Bobby opened up the Qur'an, and it started with, reading in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. It was really surprising for Bobby, as he couldn't remember a page in the Bible that addresses God like that first. So he kept on reading the Qur'an, and ultimately came to the conclusion that every surah and every chapter starts by praising God. That impressed Bobby. It seemed logical to him, unlike the concept of the Trinity. Now Bobby says that he doesn't want to discredit the Bible, and that Bible is in fact super useful. He says that Bible is like a library, while Qur'an, in comparison, is more like a one concise book. He believes that Qur'an is very powerful in the main message that it is intended for, the guidance of mankind. Moving on, Bobby went on to read the whole Qur'an. He seemed to resonate with different verses of the Qur'an, such as the one in which it talks about the natural disposition of mankind to believe in one God, and the many in which it talks about Allah is all-powerful and all-knowing. Bobby says that whether you're a Christian, Muslim, or belong to any other religion, you naturally think of God as one, not the combination of 2 or 3 deities. Anyway, it was shocking for Bobby when he found out that most Muslims who he had met in his life didn't follow the Qur'an at all. Bobby realized that in Qur'an, there is a way to God's pattern. It is always the same. It made him think about his own faith, meaning Christianity. He thought about Jesus, him being sacrificed so that the sins of all his followers are forgiven. It made Bobby truly think about people before Jesus and people that didn't hear, etc. All of a sudden, Bobby realized that there must be a red line, a clear underlying reality that is always the same, meaning that if you're alone in a jungle and you never heard about any type of religion, there must be this natural religion that is instilled within you. This understanding of the worship of one supreme being. All that about Islam made sense yet again to Bobby. So, although Bobby failed to find the devil in Qur'an, no matter how hard he tried, he found multiple warnings about the devil. After Bobby uploaded a video in his YouTube channel in regard to him reading the Qur'an, many of his followers asked him why he hasn't reverted yet. To this, Bobby says that in his heart, he believes that God is one, and Qur'an confirmed that. However, he's still learning about the different customs and practices of Islam. And until he has understood Islam fully, he doesn't intend to become a Muslim. May Allah show Bobby the right path and bring him to the fold of Islam as soon as possible. Ameen.